Yeah. So once again, I'm DJ Swag 100, part of the Worldwide Fleet DJs, represent the Philadelphia chapter, Pennsylvania. Owner of Swag 100 podcast, Swag 100 FM radio station. It's a pleasure to have you here today on our Goat Vibes interviews.
The pleasure is all mine. I'm glad we finally got a chance to hook up. Um, first and foremost, I got to show you my latest tattoo, which is the original Cypress
Cypress
Hill logo.
Hill.
Um, it's funny because it's like I mean, I'm an old head, and like my two biggest influences when I was a kid in music was Stevie Wonder, Songs in the Key of Life, and the Beatles. They were the reasons why I got into this business. So since Stevie Wonder doesn't have a logo, I got the Beatles on this arm, and I got one of my one of the favorite things that I did in my career, Cypress Hill, on this arm. So I'm not, but that's it. I'm not. I think I'm done with the tats for a while, but I just
Uh,
had to share that with you since I just got this one like last
oh
week.
man, that's awesome, man. You know, Cypress Hill, man, they contributed a lot to hip hop, and you was a part of that legacy, and
Yeah. I mean, I still have mad love for uh the Philly rap scene, because if it wasn't for the Philly rap scene, I would have not been able to discover Cypress Hill. But I'm sure, we'll get into whatever it is you want to talk about. So
yeah, definitely for sure. So, you know, I'm very honored because when I do research, there's not a lot of interviews of you out there. So I'm humbly grateful that you took your time to do this with me. You know, uh,
I mean, it's not that I'm a recluse. I don't know. I don't. I just do what I do, and I let my music and my experience speak for itself. Uh, I have a twin brother, and I have the old partner Chris Schwartz in Rough House, and so many people was like, "Damn, man, is your brother still alive?" I mean, he just we never see him. I mean, it's just how I deal with reality. You know what I mean? It's just, but I'm happy to you know
right,
talk about old times before it wears off and drop some science and
right,
whatever.
right, right, right. I wanted to start off, talk about, at the time of you getting into music, because this is 50 years of hip hop, and you've worked with a lot of these people who have got declarations and honors and things of that nature, for 50 years of hip hop. So put us on the scene, you know, um, how you actually started and what led you to get in the game, and who was the first person that you may have created or done the work with, whether it was engineering, pushing them, shopping them, or discovering them. Can you break that down for us?
Sure. I've always wanted to be a producer and engineer. I was never an artist. And I like I said, I have a twin brother who also owns Studio Four with me, and we started recording people in my parents' attic. Like in the early '70s. Um, as a matter of fact, the first person I ever recorded 47 years ago is I am recording him tomorrow, believe it or not, because he's recorded at every studio I've ever had.
Okay.
So some shit just comes full circle. So I did that, and then we opened a studio out in Radnor, PA, and we had that for a couple of years, and then we moved to Center City. We started Studio Four about 1980, and then we moved that to Center City. And we were we became one of the best studios in Philly. Recorded a lot of local bands. Did some of the outskirt, like the end of kind of like the Philly International era, and a lot of those session players and guys like that. But it wasn't. It was probably. I mean, where I really got my start in rap was with Lawrence and Dana Goodman. of pop art.
Okay.
Lawrence, they had a label, and the first thing I remember recording for them was probably Roxanne Chante.
Mm.
But they also had Marley Marl and they had Bismarcky. But Roxanne's Revenge was probably the first record that I remember that started to make some noise with Lawrence and Dana. And I just became their engineer. And I became the spot where they recorded all the time. That brought in all the pop art stuff, which was Steady B, Cool C, and of course Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Right.
And about the same time, I started working with as he's known as the OG, Schoolie D. And where's that record? It's around here somewhere. Anyway, here it is. But it was really this record, the original Schoolie D, which had Gucci Time and PSK, that really it established me in the underground, probably more so than the Steady Be Cool C records. But this is what even to this day, people are like, man, that Schoolie D shit was the original gangster shit, you know?
Yeah.
Then we did Saturday Night. And it's funny, all those acts got signed to Jive Records through Barry Weiss. But it was Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. And because it won the first rap Grammy, that really, I mean, that put me much more on the national scene, you know, once that record hit, because it was just, you know, it was the first gold record I ever had.
How was that feeling, knowing that, you know, you and your brothers, you started in the attic to get to the studios, to getting those national looks, and, you know, working with the earlier record labels like Philly International and Rough House, et cetera, et cetera?
I mean, it was great. I mean, you got to think no one else is going to think you're good unless you think you're good.
Right.
And I thought I was really fucking good. So and again, I just thought, you know, I'm really good at this shit, you know. So it was great. It was rewarding to feel like I wasn't wrong, because a lot of times, you know, there's a lot of people who strive for stuff, and you know, it's funny because I respect and appreciate people who say, "Don't give up, don't give up. You never know." It's like, just keep trying. Don't give up. But when do you have to come? But if you don't have it, whatever it is, whether you want to be a rapper, a basketball player, an attorney, and you ain't got it, you've got people around you saying, no, man, don't give up. Don't give up. And you should have given up. That person is going to waste their life. So I just have a real mixed emotion about that. And it's, you know, and yet at the same time, I have a saying: making it in this business, in the music business, isn't difficult. It's fucking impossible. Okay. So it's like, well, but if you can't, you know, but you're contradicting yourself. You're saying it's impossible, but don't give up. But what if you ain't got it? What if you ain't got it?
Right.
What do you know, then
You will have to look yourself in the eyes and come to terms with that.
And maybe you're not a rapper, but maybe you're a writer. Maybe you're a great engineer. Maybe you're good at designing lights for live shows. Maybe you're a good salesperson. You know, you have to sometimes, maybe you have to open your horizons to see what are you good at. Okay. And it can't just be your mom and your sister that says you're good. Okay. you know what I mean?
Right.
So, but anyway, I don't know why I went off on that tangent, but you know, I felt like I was good enough, and I was rewarded with I was good enough.
Right. Well, I mean, these years later, you can see that you was good enough and you still good enough because it's still people that's sampling and they're 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 trying to recreate and they're using it as a foundation to make new music. So you definitely stapled yourself, in the game, not just in rap or hip hop itself, but in other genres as well. Um, are there any hidden talents that people may not know about you? Like you actually play the piano or you play the violin, you can skate.
Um, I make a mean hot sauce. Joe the
Okay.
Butcher's hot sauce is the bomb. Okay. So I make a mean hot sauce, and I'm a good father and husband. I mean, I try to be a good person. You know what I
Right.
mean? But a lot of people in this business are kind of two dimensional. I can't say I'm not, but what we're so driven by what we do that we put so much passion into it. Sometimes there isn't a lot of time for anything else besides like friends and family.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, I wish I was. I,
And you're still moving along right here today to these days. So could you give us, when we speaking about, and I do want to stick on the rap scene, when we speaking about 50 years of hip hop, right? You we can go on and on and on with, people that you and your brother have touched, the Kriss Krosses, the Lauryn Hills, the Roots and the Commons and et cetera, et cetera. So uh out of 50 years of this genre, being around, what is a highlight for you, whether you was involved in it or not? What is a highlight for you that you'll never forget that you probably would want to share with everyone?
there was. I mean, it's hard for me to pick one crazy roller coaster ride because and that's how it's like the first roller coaster ride was Cypress Hill, and it's going up and it's going up, and it didn't just become a hit, it became a phenomenon. Okay, and now you're going down the other side and you're flailing your arms and you're just like, oh man, this is unbelievable. And then that roller coaster ride kind of comes to a stop, and now you get on the Kriss Kross ride, and that shit, that the Kriss Kross, the whole Kriss Kross jump situate, it's still to this day one of the biggest records ever.
Hey
It's
man,
still
that
one of,
was one of my
it was
favorite tracks coming up.
um and I could tell you the day when it went from 0 to 100 was when they were on in Living Color. I don't know if people
Yes,
who are old enough remember the show in Living Color.
yes, we grew up
And
on it.
they were on that Sunday night, and then the next day, man, everybody was jumping on the record, and it's just, you heard it on the radio just day and night.
Right.
uh, so then there was that craziness, then there was the Fugees, and the first Fuji record, blunted on reality, it really didn't do that well. Okay, it did about 119,000 copies, and back then that really wasn't anything. But they had just started breaking at the end of that record with like Nappy Heads and Fuji Law. So so it was just beginning to happen, and the record was done. And Sony, with Rough House, was distributed by Sony, Columbia Records, and they were like, "Wait, you're gonna drop the Fugees. You're not gonna do another Fuji record." And it's like, what? No, man, they just started hitting. Of course, we want to do another Fuji record,
Right.
and that became the score. And Killing Me Softly, Ready or Not. I mean, uh, the Ready or Not video was one of the first videos that cost over $1 million to make, and
Wow.
we're talking like 1995.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, and we used the interiors from the movie Hunt for Red October. So it's just kind of like, it's so hard. It's like, do I pick what child in my past do I like the best? I mean, and then after the Fugees, of course, Wyclef Carnival, But then Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Yeah, Lauryn Hill, man. Yeah,
I
them.
mean, of all the records that and it's not even like everything is a personal taste, right? I mean, personally, I like listen. I don't mind like listening to uh the first Cypress Hill record because that's my shit. Okay,
Right.
but I can't deny how influential the Lauryn Hill record was, and how influential it was to so many people who would come who to this day say, "You don't know that record got me through a hard time, man."
Yes.
Okay,
Soulful,
I
man.
was feeling desperate, and that record got me through. Okay, so if you want to talk about the importance of how records and music can influence people, it has to be the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill,
Yes.
just because of the influence that it had on people. And it's one of the top records of all time,
Yes.
you know. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I think I
Uh,
did.
you really did, because you took us on your journey. You took us on your up and down on the coast. And once again, I mean, Kriss Kross, Fugees, Lauryn Hill, Wyclef, Cypress Hill. These are all people that still people to today, and that can relate to the time frame when these records came out. It's still playing, it's still being pumped, and it'll never go nowhere. There's timeless pieces, timeless singles, and timeless projects. um what do you think was one of the biggest things that you had to overcome during your journey?
Um, well, I'd have to say like early on when we were a struggling recording studio just trying to make a living. There were a lot of years where that was a struggle, that was a fight to try to keep building up your rep, trying to get people to come to record. And it was funny because it was that when I realized owning a recording studio and providing studio time at a rate wasn't going to put my kids through college. But owning a piece of the Fugees or owning a piece of Cypress Hill or a piece of the Lauryn Hill record, that's where the money was. And that's why I flipped into, like, in the mid 80s starting Roughhouse, and becoming a record company that had a recording studio. That was like that's when everything just totally clicked.
Right. And to today, right now, when people think of Philadelphia, and they think about the music scene, they think about Gamble and Huff, they think about the Philly International, they think about um um Rough House, which is now Rough Nation. So um building this, uh as a record company, what was some of the key things that you knew that was going to be able to allow y'all to facilitate and distribute artists throughout y'all studio, and, like you said, have a piece of the music that y'all was creating, or the
I mean,
groups?
it was we it's a fusion of two things. It's a fusion of incredible talent and an infusion of dumb shit luck. Okay, I do. But I use colorful language, but
Right.
I think we're
It's
allowed to.
fine here.
It's cable. It's pod. Right.
Right.
It's how I talk. What the fuck? So and it's just kind of like they just all the shit happened at the right place at the right time. Um, I use the dumb shit luck phrase a lot. I'm sure you know who Billy Joel is. Uh,
Yes.
okay, I produced Billy Joel River of Dreams, which was his last big record, which was 1993. And when I was working with Billy, he would a lot of times he'd say, "Man, dude, we are really good at what we do, really good, okay? But you and I both know it's dumb shit luck, Okay. Right place at the right time. The shit just happened. There is somebody driving a UPS truck right now who can sing and write better than me and you combined. Right place at the right time. We're talented, but it's so much of it is just, being at the right place at the right time.
Right. So, we go through the rough we went through, the upcoming and some of the ups and downs and things of that nature. I do want the people to know that you still, of course, you're still in the industry, you're still doing your thing. But I did hear that you had a new label that you're formulating, and you're pushing the mental health awareness, and I definitely would love for you to elaborate on that so people can start tapping into that now and getting familiar with the movement.
Yeah. It's pretty much what I'm spending a lot of time with now. People in Philly, especially if you go to the Phillies or the Sixers games, know who Tony Luke's is. Tony Luke's is the cheesesteak king, right? And about 5 years ago, Tony lost his son to a heroin overdose. And I've known Tony for a long time, and I knew him as Tony Lucidonio, who was signed to Island Records and wrote songs. So Tony hit me up and said, I just want to die. I have no interest in doing anything, and I want to express my sorrow by making a record. So we did. We made an album. And while we were making it, we realized how therapeutic and how important music is for mental health, trauma, and the people with issues. So we started a foundation called the Sound Mind Network. And basically our mission statement is to change the way the world looks at drug abuse, mental health, trauma, and suicide through music and the arts. And that's basically what we've started to do. We have an album coming out this month. It's a compilation. It's got all kinds of people on it.
Right.
That's going to be coming out at the end of the month.
Hold it up so so the
Sure.
audience can see it.
It's called Healing Through the Arts. It's got Kathy Sledge of Sister Sledge on it. It's got Taj Mahal. It's got Sophie B. Hawkins, Cyndi Lauper, Joan Osborne, the Bacon brothers, Kevin and Michael. Kevin Bacon is one of our spokespeople. And this record comes out at the end of this month, with all proceeds going to the Sound Mind Network. And I started a label called SMN Records. And basically, we're just going to continue to focus music. It doesn't have to be necessarily music with a positive message, because that whole positive music kind of connotation people just kind of steer away from. But we want to keep music, we want to keep it real, but we do want to give people a feeling of a positive attitude. Like I keep pointing over to the record for the platinum for Lauryn Hill's over there as one point over there.
Right.
But that's a great example of a record that she kept it real. I mean, that shit was great.
It was tasteful, soulful, and it was. I believe that good music is music that you're not, because a lot of people do make music for themselves, But I believe when you're making music for the people, and that's the consumers, the listeners from every corner of the earth, when you make it for them, and I feel like that's that project with Miseducation. I feel like that was that type of project, whereas though it was made for the people,
And we have a lot of benefactors. We have a company that's called Make It With Clay. They have therapy through making things. Kevin Bacon's foundation, 6 Degrees. There's another one, another foundation called Rock to the Future, that they basically give lessons and a place to record and place to rehearse to disadvantaged kids in the inner city. And next year we're gonna have a contest. Basically, SMN Records is distributed through Virgin.
Mm.
That's our distributor, and we're going to have a contest, and the winner of the contest wins a single on SMN Records. We're going to have a good panel of people deciding. And then the 10 finalists, I'll mix and finish producing the 10 songs in the finalist category.
Right.
It's for a donation. I mean, basically, to apply, it's going to cost $20 to apply, but all that money goes to help the foundation. So you're basically donating $20, and with any luck, you'll win a spot on the label.
Definitely. I do want to mention this. I just feel it deep in my heart. Look out for this girl. She's from Poxtown. Beautiful, blonde hair. She got two color eyes. It's gray and green. Her name is Bae. Bae.
I'm going to write it down.
Yes, Bae music. All her music is about she's a mental health advocate. So she's already in that lane. She's pushing it. And she came to she's a pop artist, but she does try to hop in different genres, but she done a couple showcases of mine. And when it comes to mental health awareness, and I see that you're pushing it, I feel like that's somebody that might be a good fit for
Yeah, make sure you give me her contact information, because she's exactly the person that we would like to contact. And she could also, well, we're starting next year a division called Music Matters. What Music Matters is, it's basically one division is all different musicians who will go out, and it could be a prison, it could be a halfway house, it could be at Jefferson Hospital, where we want to bring the gift of music, and the we want to bring the gift of music to people who don't have it. It could be a senior citizen play, whatever. And it could be one person with a piano or a guitar, or it could be an entire band. And we're starting that up at the beginning of next year, and it's going to be called Music Matters. And we're also going to have certified therapists to also have another division of Music Matters. So that's something we're starting up next year.
Oh yeah, that sounds awesome. It's always good to know that, people that's really high up in the industry and doing things on the elite level is still coming down and putting things back out to the community and making ways for the less privileged, the people who have the less privilege, or the ones that has disabilities and probably get overlooked. It's always great to know that there are systems and programs that doesn't count them out.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
all.
you're exactly right, and it's like, if I find that responsibility important, because okay, so Joe the Butcher has this legacy in rap, but it's like, how did I make the world a better place, man? How did I help people who couldn't help themselves or didn't get the opportunity to help themselves? You know what I mean? So, and I can make that difference. I can make that difference, and it's almost in a selfish kind of way, because what you get back in return, it's like you sleep like a baby, man, because you feel like you are making a difference. It's like, if I'm not doing it, well, then who is going to do it?
Right.
So
It's
it's
nothing like
important.
that feeling to have somebody say, "Hey, you helped me get my first car," or "I got my first apartment," or "Hey, I got over a fear of performing in front of 500 people. I just was in front of my first 20,000." So it's, everybody has their own goal, and
Sure.
you can help them hit that goal. It's a beautiful feeling that can't even
Yeah.
be explained. It's like a
Right.
weight that just
Exactly. No, it's true, and it doesn't. Okay, so I'm hoping I can help a lot of people because of my visibility and speaking to you or speaking out to people. But even if you save one person's life, if you save one person's life, you've done an amazing thing. I'll tell
yes.
you something else that we're doing.
And knowing a guy named Robin White helps too.
Yeah. That's that. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
Oh yeah,
Or,
that
um, This is Narcan. This is Narcan nasal spray.
Yes.
City of Angels has tons of these. And you can get these. You got to get, you got to look a little, but you can definitely get these. And anybody who's watching, put this in your glove compartment. Okay, it's 2 doses. You never know, where you're going to be or how it's going to affect your life. But you could save a life by just having this
Yes.
in your glove compartment.
Especially
Okay.
in the city of Philadelphia and ones
Oh,
like it.
oh my God. And Kensington and Fishtown. And
Yes.
it's just kind of like, don't just walk over the person and keep walking. Save a fucking life, for Christ's sake. Okay.
For real.
All right, there.
So let me ask you this, Joe. Because one thing about GOAT vibes, I love speaking to the celebs, I love speaking to the legends, the GOATs, and things of that nature. And I'm sure that this interview can definitely help a lot of people along their way. But I do want to ask questions that stick to your niche. There are other engineers, there are other people that want to open up or have a recording facility for people to come to and visit. What would be one of the biggest pieces of advice that you can give them under a minute?
Man, be okay. You have to be, obviously you have to be really good at what you do, but you also have to have the right personality to know how to work with people, especially in this business. Exactly what that is hard for me to say, but if another way that you can think about it too is when somebody calls and says, I need to record 5 songs and the schedule looks kind of light, and you're like, well, it's $50 an hour, and the person goes, all right, man, thanks, and they hang up. Instead, just go, okay, how much money you got? Straight up, what can you afford? It's like, I don't know, man, I got $350. All right, well, you're not going to record 10 songs, but we're going to record 4 songs, and they're going to be the shit. Okay, we're going to start with that. So qualify your client and see how you can close the deal. Okay, that and work with people and just be nice. It doesn't cost you anything to be nice. Yeah, did you work with Joe the Butcher? Man, he was a dick. It's like, just be nice, be courteous, be respectful of people. Don't tell people what to do, even if you feel like, wow, this person, it's like if you make them feel valued and they had a good experience, they're going to tell other people.
Yeah, definitely, Joe. I really appreciate you for that. Don't want to hold too much of your time. Also, we want you to let everybody know where they can find you at, or it might be an artist or an engineer or an investor or someone that may have watched this that want to invest into one of the programs that you have going on. What would be the easiest way to contact you, whether it's an email or whatever, and we'll pin it right there at the bottom during the interview.
If you want to know more, if you want to know and or donate to the foundation, it's soundmindnetwork.org. Soundmindnetwork.org. Even it's funny too. It's like, if you can help, I mean, it's like your vinyl will be available next year, but even without, and it's, of course, it's going to be on Spotify. It's going to be on every platform. But
buy the vinyl, everybody. Buy the vinyl.
Yeah, buy the vinyl. And even at that, it's like people still, believe it or not, still buy downloads because they want to have downloads as opposed to just to have Spotify. It's going to be $10. All the proceeds go to the SoundMind Network. Just go to Apple or Amazon, whatever, and it's like you get all this music for $10, and you're helping save lives. So if you don't want to go through the trouble of getting a vinyl, just hit the download button. That it'll be on the website. If someone wants to get a hold of me, it's Joe Nicolo Music JoeNicolo, Joe Nicolo Music at gmail.com. That's my email.
All right.